Hi, everybody. Before we record this episode, I just want to say technically the episode has already been recorded. I'm recording this after the fact. But I wanted to put this first. We got our Spotify Wrapped, which, if you're unfamiliar with what Spotify Wrapped is it's like this. Everybody's familiar with it at this point, but it's this end of year thing where you see how much of what artist and what music you listen to. Well, as a creator, as a podcaster, you get to see the stats of how much people listen to you and shared you and things like that. And I can't say thank you enough for inviting us into your home, your car, your speakers, whatever, however you're listening, because we were in the top, I believe it was 5% most shared video podcast on Spotify. We were, or most watched and most shared, top 5% or something like that. We were number one fan. Like we were the number one podcast for many of you. We were in the top 5 and the top 10 for even more. I mean, it was hundreds of people, and it's just shocking and so humbling. There aren't enough words that I can say to say thank you for trusting me and listening. And before I get all misty eyed, because they are kind of welling up right now. Let's just get into the podcast. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. And we are live for episode number 43.
Wow.
We're upping the energy right now because just a moment ago we were yawning. We did just put our son to sleep.
Yes.
And he didn't take a nap today. So we're bringing the energy now, but it's a mask. I'm telling you, it's a mask.
It's been a long day.
We are exhausted. I was up at 2:45 this morning.
Yeah.
Until 6:30.
6:30.
6.
I took over at 5:45.
Yeah.
So
I just couldn't sleep. And then Milo was awake. But that's not what you guys are here for. You guys are here to hear you guys are here to hear us yap about fitness and nutrition, and specifically today, body composition tests. Are they accurate? Which method is the best? What do we recommend or not recommend? What's worth your money? What's not worth your money? And yeah, before we get into that, let's talk about what are we watching or doing lately. So it is December 18th at the time of this recording. So we are officially 7 days out from Christmas and 6 days out from the most important person's birthday. That is Maddie.
Yeah.
This girl.
Yes.
She's turning 20. You were turning 20. You're turning 28.
Yeah, 28.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm excited because I think 28 sounds better than 27.
Yeah.
I think just even numbers sound nice.
Yeah. I'm 31. Those are two odd numbers. So.
Well, maybe we just feel differently about.
And Milo's birthday is 7/13. So a lot of odd numbers.
Yeah. I
like odd numbers. I'm an odd number kind of guy. Yeah. I am, I think.
Yeah. I've always liked even numbers. I don't know.
Okay. Well.
12/24. So.
Yeah. For my even number fans and my odd number fans.
This is so stupid.
We should restart. No, I'm kidding.
What are we watching?
What are we watching? We're watching Gen V.
Gen V, great.
Which is The Boys on Amazon Prime. It's like the spinoff.
Yeah.
They complement each other. They kind of go back and forth with seasons. And so you kind of, if you watch one, you definitely watch the other. I would assume it'd be weird. I think it'd be weird to watch only one, but great show.
I feel like you could watch The Boys without watching Gen V, but probably not the other way
could watch
around.
Gen V. It'd be weirder though that way.
I think it'd be weirder that way.
Like a secondary show. Yeah.
I personally prefer Gen V.
Yeah. But
it's good. They're both good.
We're watching, we just finished The Survivor season 49. Don't give away because I don't want to give any spoilers away.
No spoilers.
But I will say that both of us felt that it was a subpar season. At least for me, I wasn't rooting for anybody. I didn't feel a lot of excitement. I did ask my Instagram audience what they thought. It was 100% across the board agreed with me that they didn't feel connected to anybody.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I just didn't.
I'm a
big Survivor fan.
Yeah.
So I normally am just like, even seasons that other people don't really like, I'm always like, well, I had a good time.
Yeah.
This season I was pretty whatever about.
We were kind of putting it on in the background.
Yeah. And like we were behind. We were never behind.
We're never behind. We usually, it's like Wednesday night, 8 p.m.
Yeah, we watch it live.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but next season is season 50.
Yeah.
Now, did you see this? Did you see some of the?
I like saw hintings of it, but I didn't see any of the like official like trailers or anything like that or whatever. Yeah.
Stop doing that. Stop hitting that.
Yeah. I just don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting. I'm excited for the cast. You know, with any reality TV show, it's the people make it what it is.
Oh yeah.
You can set up, you know, you can put everybody into these situations, but what makes it entertaining TV is the people at its core. And the challenges are just there as you know, a means to get their emotions and reactions and, you know, interpersonal connections and things like that. My mom would use Survivor as a bargaining chip growing up. We didn't have a light just turned on. I don't know why. It's really weird. We didn't have an allowance. We didn't have too crazy of punishments, like grounded every once in a while and things like that. But her corporal punishment was no Survivor. That was, you did that, you may as well be going to jail.
Yeah, we still kind of joke about that with your family. That still.
Yeah. No Survivor. Yeah. Now I was the only one that worked on.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I need to see what happens next.
Yeah. I actually think your siblings are like shocked that you still watch Survivor.
Yeah, they are. Well, it's a good time.
Yeah. We're also watching Pluribus.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, the premise is great. First episode was amazing.
Yeah.
The second, third episode was great in my opinion. And then it's kind of getting a little slow. And I like shows where the plot really moves forward at a little bit of a faster pace for me personally.
Yeah, especially because we watch TV so infrequently. Like it takes us multiple days to finish an episode. So when it's also a slow-paced show.
It's like the third day in a row of us watching this guy drive a car.
Yeah, it's like wow.
Okay, holy moly.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I'm still excited to see how the season ends.
Yeah. Doing or watching anything else? We are hosting your parents for Christmas dinner the first time ever.
Yeah, we're
really
hosting
excited
Christmas.
About that.
Yes,
yeah. Maddie loves hosting.
Yeah, normally we go to your parents, but my parents are staying home this year. They normally travel, or at least have the last couple of years. So that'll be.
And we're really excited for Christmas this year. I hope Santa brings me a steering wheel for like a gaming steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I told that to Nate that I was hoping that Santa would bring me a steering wheel, and he goes, "Well, like for your car?" And I realized like I need to explain that.
Yeah.
No, I have like a VR headset, and I want to have a steering wheel too, so it's like I can like drive race cars, but I don't have enough money to drive a race car, like not even close.
It would be tough.
If anybody out there has a connection, I'm literally begging you to get me into an F1 car. Like I know, like guys, I know that's an ask. I know it's a big ask, but here's the thing: somebody out there knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's like the 6 degrees or 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Are you familiar?
I can put 2 and 2 together based on what we're saying.
Yeah. So if you guys are unfamiliar, there's this idea, you know, that we can be. It's called the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And it's this idea that any actor can be linked to Kevin Bacon through their shared roles in 6 steps or fewer. But it's not only that. It is like in life. There was this really good educational YouTube channel that talked about that. And they kind of put it to the test. And they said, like, can you really get anywhere in like 6 degrees or 7 degrees? And it was insane, the connections that he did. And so he would pick like a random person and then spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the connections, and like every single person that he picked, he was able to get there within like 6 connections.
That's crazy.
So it's really, really interesting. You know, they always say like, oh, the world is so small. And, you know, it's because so many people have these really diverse webs of acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think about your 100, 200, 300 people that you might have acquaintances, it's like all of a sudden,
right, it's a huge web.
The numbers get insane once you go 1, 2, 3, 4 layers out. So yeah, it's really interesting. So anyway, I'm asking all of you, be my Kevin Bacon. Get me to an F1 race in a car. I'll do like anything. Anyway, let's get into the episode.
All right.
So today we're talking about body composition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when talking about body composition, specifically what I'm talking about is body fat, and we are going to use lean mass and muscle a little bit. We're going to be using both of those, but just to get ahead of myself a little bit, when we talk about lean mass or non-fat mass versus fat mass, lean mass is anything that is not body fat or adipose tissue. So that is not just your muscle. It is your brain. It is your heart. It is your kidneys. It is your bone. It is your skin. It is the water inside of you. Mm-hmm. So you can see how much lean mass could change on a day-to-day basis. If I drink this cup of water, I gained like a pound or two of lean mass. Mm-hmm. To gain a pound or two of muscle, dude, that's going to take somebody brand new to the gym, might take them a month. Somebody at my stage in the game, that actually could take me a year at this point, which is so depressing. Super, super bummer. Yeah, that sucks, but it is what it is. You know, that's the life of being a natural. Anyway, and just kind of my overarching view of body composition, of body fat percentage specifically, like having a numerical, you know, when you look in the mirror, right, you can see your body composition in a way of like, oh, you know, as long as we're not going down the body dysmorphia, we can kind of look in the mirror and be like, I'm either content with my body or I am not content with my body. Let's say you're content with your body. Amazing. I'm so happy for you. That's great. I am content with my body. However, I also want to be leaner and more muscular. So that means I, obviously need to gain muscle and lose body fat, the combination of that. First off, I think that's a totally fine mental state to have. There are some people out there, some coaches out there who think, no, you should be happy with your body no matter what, never want to change it. It's like, okay, well, there's health, things to think about, whatever. I'm not going to get on that rant. But when we're talking about a numerical percentage, so you can look in a mirror and you could be like, okay, I want to gain muscle. I want to lose body fat somewhere, maybe a mixture of the both. But when we talk about the numerical percentage, I think it matters so little. Yeah. I think if you have a number attached to you, does that really change any decision or behavior that you are going to take anyway?
Yeah. Right. I want to say something, but you feel free to cut this out.
Okay.
If you want. I was going to say, I do feel like there are some instances, and I think specifically like, I agree. The average person, most people, the vast majority of people do not need to care about the specific number. Mm-hmm. However, I do think in a medical and health situation, it could be quite informative, specifically in the situation of if you are a person in a smaller body and you discover that you are under muscled, you probably don't know that without some sort of testing, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, I like where your head's at with this. But, again, we can kind of use the eye test here on if somebody's under muscled, like we can use the eye test.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
I'm not going to say, give me an example of a person.
Sure.
Like, obviously.
Sure.
But
I'm just, so like, this is all like hypothetical.
Sure.
I'm just thinking like, if you were someone who walked in and you were 130 pounds and you looked pretty thin, sure. You were maybe 5'4", 5'5", 130. Like that is a thin person. Yeah. But you didn't have enough muscle. Like if you were still like
130, 135, 4. Okay, 135, 4.
I'm just making up numbers. That's
No, sure. I'm just thinking like I don't want people to hear this and be like 5'4", 130. I'm those stats. I'm not super thin.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like,
I shouldn't give specific numbers here.
Well, I think it could be, but guys, please don't put too much stock into those numbers, right?
No.
But what you're trying to say, I think, is, would it be beneficial to say like, okay, hypothetically, you go into a doctor's office, you take the scan or whatever, and the doctor's like, hey, you don't have enough muscle for optimum health. You want to gain more muscle. Is that general?
Yeah.
Okay. What would that change about that person's behaviors? Regardless?
So in my mind, this is a situation where someone's not currently working out, and now they have learned like, oh shoot, maybe I'm not.
Okay, so it's just like a validation, kind of like somebody who maybe is eating too much saturated fat, right? But they don't have. Okay, I see what you're saying. Somebody's eating too much saturated fat, but they don't really care that much. Like they're eating a lot of red meat, they're eating bacon, they're eating, whatever, right? They're saturated. But then they get their cholesterol scores,
right?
And then the doctor's like, "Hey, your cholesterol's high.
Yes.
We should bring back saturated. Are you eating a lot of red meat?" And they're like, "Yeah, all the time. I love it." Like, okay, well, I have bad news.
Right. Okay. There's like an awareness factor that like 90% of people like. This is like a very obscure thing.
I mean, I wouldn't even say it's that obscure. Let me tell you right now, the majority of people are under muscled and over fat. Just the reality.
Sure, but like, that's the only kind of situation is like that I can see where there's some relevance to like, but you don't even need to know the specific number for that.
No.
So
no, the general rule is like, everybody should be lifting, not just for the sake of muscle growth, but for long-term strength, for fall prevention, for when you have more muscle and you are using that muscle, you have lower risk of pre-diabetes, diabetes, things like that. So there's a lot of reasons that somebody should be lifting. But I do hear you on the kind of like playing devil's advocate of, is there, but that's also the idea of being able to accurately measure muscle.
Yes.
And that's one thing that we're going to talk about. Can you accurately measure muscle, and how do you do it? So just for the people who love data, things like that, we are equally healthy for men in 10 to 20% body fat. And for women, 18 to 30% body fat. And you might hear, oh, wow, 20 and 30% body fat. That's a lot of body fat. 30%, that's like a third of my body is body fat. Mm-hmm. Well, so for women, they have more baseline, like essential fat that they need to hold on to. And 30% is not that high. Like if you have some muscle, especially, you do not look overweight. The more muscle you have, this is going to sound kind of obvious, but I'm just going to say it anyway. The more muscle you have, the leaner you look, even at a higher body fat percentage. Somebody who has a lot of muscle at 20% body fat can look leaner and more jacked than somebody who has no muscle at like 12% body fat. Mm-hmm. You kind of think about like the high school boy look back when like high school boys weren't like jacked to the tits and looking like 30-year-old dudes, like making me look stupid. Yeah. The normal, like the average high school boy of like the 2000s, not the 2020s, where everybody's now taking creatine at like age 6. But yeah, I mean, so muscle really changes the way a body fat percentage looks. Now, when I think body fat percentage can be useful, kind of like you said, like, having in theory, having a test where you see how much muscle you have and then your doctor could address that. Mm-hmm. A lot of doctors don't really know what they're talking about, by the way. Yeah. But I do think it can be somewhat helpful if you estimate your body fat percentage using one of the methods that we'll talk about a little bit later, and then realizing like, okay, let's use easy math. I don't know what that was.
You heard it too, though.
Yeah. Let's say I'm 150 pounds and I am 20% body fat. So I have 30 pounds of fat, right? Then I can kind of, do some math and be like, oh, okay, well, if I lose 10 pounds, then I'll be 140 pounds and I'll have 20 pounds of body fat. Again, assuming I'm lifting and I'm eating plenty of protein and I lose 100% body fat and no muscle, right? Let's just whatever, right? So then I am, like I said, I have 20 pounds of body fat and I'm 140 pounds. What is the math on that? 7. What is it, like 17% or something like that? That seems too high. It's got to be 14%. I should have known that. Anyway, so then you drop to like 14%. So you dropped 10 pounds. It's like, wow, I'm going to go from 20% to 14%. And then you can use like some online, Jeff Nippard put out a really good video where he takes a bunch of people from like 6% body fat to 50% body fat and just shows how it looks on both men and women. And so you can kind of almost use that video to be like, I'm not that person. I have different muscle than them. I have different muscle insertions than them. I'm a different age than them. I'm a different height than them. But here's generally, kind of what that looks like. Men are probably going to have slightly blurry abs around like 14-15% body fat. Women, it's probably going to be like add 8 to 10 to that. So like 22 to 25%. And then you start getting like really lean with striations at like 10% for men and 18% for women. And below that, I wouldn't recommend getting, again, we're talking about not using body fat percentage, and I'm really railing on the body fat percentage stuff, but there are people who want this data and like they're curious about it. So who am I to gatekeep information? But anyway, one of the things that I think it was 3-4 years ago. Do you remember the debates about the P ratio? I mean, I know you didn't watch them, but I talked about them a lot.
I remember you talking about them. Couldn't tell you a thing about it.
So this P ratio was stood for partitioning ratio. And it was kind of this thought that if you have more body fat then and you're lifting and you're trying to grow muscle, then the nutrients that would go to the muscle instead go to body fat. And so it's harder for you to gain muscle. Now, there were debate. This was the thought. This was the premise. And there were people on like the pro side of that and the con side of that, like saying like, no, that's not how it works. And people were like, no, that I think that is how it works. Well, nothing was absolute here. Well, that's not true. The general consensus between these two camps was not agreed upon, I'll say. And so this was Titans versus Titans. It was in one corner, you had Greg Nuckols and Eric Trexler, formerly Stronger by Science. Greg Nuckols still owns former Stronger by Science, also my best friend. And then he also owns Macrofactor. Use code Alex for 2 weeks free trial. Also, Greg is my best friend. And then, and that was in the blue corner. And then in the red corner, you had Mike Israetel, Menno Henselman, things like that. I think it was Menno Henselman was on the, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Anyway, and they came forward and debated, and it was a really friendly debate. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. The Stronger by Science dudes, they don't miss. Greg Nuckols and Eric Trexler do not miss.
Yeah.
They are the smartest people I have ever come in contact with.
If you ever want the most thorough explanation on any topic ever, just Google Stronger by Science and then the topic. And you'll be reading for 30 minutes, if not longer.
Or more. I mean, I read Eric Trexler's statistics guide was so long, he had to split it into 2 separate documents. I think it was over 100 pages.
Yeah.
It took me like a week to read, and I was trying to move through it.
Yeah.
And that was just a guide to interpreting statistics in research. I mean, that was insane. And like his article on reverse dieting, I send that to coaches all the time. Coaches who are like, I'm confused by reverse dieting. This coach seems to have really made a business. I mean, I just got this message the other day. This coach made a huge business off of reverse dieting. I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's ignorance or if she's intentionally trying to like scam people, but she is overcomplicating a very simple topic. Mm-hmm. By the way, we have a podcast episode on reverse dieting. It's like episode in the teens, I believe. Episode maybe like, let's see, 13, 12, 10. Yeah, I think 10. Episode 10. Anyway, so if you're curious about that, go check that out. But Um, anyway, back to the partitioning ratio thing. Yeah, it basically ends up not being true that we gain muscle similarly, just no matter what body fat we are. So if you are kind of in the thought of like, oh, I need to lose weight first before gaining muscle, first off, you don't need to do that. Second, if you have that thought, you are putting yourself at such a disservice, because when you lose weight, if you're not lifting weights, you will lose both body fat and muscle. What happens then is the body wants that muscle back, but we don't gain muscle at the same rate as we lose it when we're dieting. And so your body's going to ramp up that hunger, and you are going to gain weight, and a lot of times you are going to gain more weight than you started at in the first place, because the body wants that muscle back and you don't regain it at the same rate. So yeah, what was this called? Something overshoot. It was like it was literally just fat overshoot. Yeah, I forgot the author of the paper that this was talked about, but it was really, really interesting. And I think it's, a lot of people who have done the yo-yo dieting thing, I think they can relate to that, where it's like, okay, I lost 30 pounds, but and I felt good, but then I gained it all back and more, and I felt worse. And it's like, that's a big part of why. So please do not go into weight loss thinking like, oh, I need to lose weight and then I'm going to gain muscle. Like that is, it's just a really, really bad idea. You want to be lifting while you lose weight, because not only can you maintain muscle, but you can even gain muscle in a calorie deficit, depending on the size of the deficit, depending on how advanced you are in the gym, like how many years you've been lifting, depending on your program, so on and so forth. Okay. That was a lot. But let's just like move on to the idea of like, how should somebody decide when to bulk, with a calorie surplus, gain weight, when to cut or lose weight, or when to maintain? What would you tell somebody?
I think the common advice that we give is to just like look at yourself and like in the mirror, like how do you feel about your body, and how do you feel in general. There are some other considerations, like if you are considering a calorie deficit, is this the time of year? Is this like the busy season of your life? Maybe now isn't the time, but like generally, just how are you feeling about the way you look?
Yeah, I think people overthink this too much. Do you want to gain muscle? Do you want to lose body fat, or a bit of both? And then a lot of people are like, a bit of both. And it's like, okay, if the pressure was on and you had to make a decision, what would you choose? And it's like, I guess I'll lose body fat. It's a little bit higher. And it's like, okay, well, good news. We can kind of do both at the same time, but then you get to decide, how aggressive do you want to be with it? Do you want to enter a bigger calorie deficit where you're going to lose body fat faster, but muscle growth is slower, or a slightly more conservative calorie deficit where body fat is slower, but muscle growth is a bit faster? Or you could chill at maintenance, and lose body fat and gain muscle at the same time. Let's say you're 150 pounds. You maintain 150 pounds throughout the year, but you're lifting and you're taking your sets close to failure, and you're doing that, 2 to 4 times per week. You're lifting 2 to 4 times per week, right? With a structured program in the Change Project. You like that plug?
I did.
I mean, it's like so smooth. It is so...
You're good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 43, you've had some practice.
Yeah, I've been doing it a while. But anyway, yeah, I mean, like, let's say, so you're 150 pounds, you're lifting for an entire year. If you're new to lifting, you might be able to gain 5, 10, depending on genetic, maybe 15 pounds of muscle. The difference, if you put on 15 pounds of muscle at 150 pounds, and you've maintained... where's that other weight kind of, there's a balance here, right? You got to balance the book somehow. You lost 15 pounds of body fat. That is a 30-pound shift in body composition. It's crazy what you can do in 1 year. And the first 2 years, and it slows down. Muscle growth will slow down, but that first bit, oh my gosh, you can make such a big change if you have structure and consistency for 6 months, 1 year. you're going to look like a whole different person, but you got to be consistent with it. Anyway, yeah, so just look in a mirror and prioritize your goals. Oh, I don't know if I like really fully stated the partitioning ratio stuff. Basically, they were like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You can gain muscle similarly, high body fat percentage, low body fat percentage, as long as you're not like sub 10% for men and sub 18% for women. But they pointed out like NFL linebackers and sumo wrestlers who are gaining lean mass at like muscle at incredible rates, or like at reasonable rates and similar to leaner people, but they have, you know, a lot more body fat. Sumo wrestlers, they accrue mass. Like that's their thing. So anyway, yeah. All right, let's dive into. Do you want to summarize for the audience what we've talked about so far, just in case anybody kind of zoned out a bit?
Yeah. So you always put me on the spot. It makes me really nervous and sweaty. So far, I mean, we've talked about primarily body composition and what that, you know, like how you would track body composition, or like why it would be important, or if it's important. Yeah.
We haven't talked about how to track it yet.
No, that's
next.
Yeah.
So let me just do a quick recap for anybody, just in case you zoned out. Overall, I don't think a body fat percentage is super useful, but 10 to 20% for men and 18 to 30% for women are all healthy ranges. Lower is not inherently healthier. You know, you're going to look very different at a given body fat percentage if you have more or less muscle. So try not to put too much stock into it. And then how do you decide whether to bulk, cut, or maintain? Just look in a mirror and think about your goals. What's the highest priority? Okay. Let's talk about how to track body composition, some ways that are out there, whether it's commercial or medical, and what we recommend and don't recommend. So first up is bioelectrical impedance analysis. Do you want to take this one over? I just made a really lengthy Instagram video about it that, you guys, it absolutely bombed. I mean, this was one of my worst performing posts, and I was like shocked because I thought it was so good. Mm-hmm. I thought it was engaging. I thought it was entertaining. Super educational. Mm-hmm. And so many, I get questions about these things all the time.
Yeah. Maybe the average person's like scrolling TikTok sees bioelectrical impedance analysis.
I said body fat scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bioelectrical impedance analysis,
yeah,
BIA.
So do you guys know those things? Maybe you've gone into a gym and a personal trainer's like, here, hold on to this. And then
one of the craziest things.
This is real.
It's happened to
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were in Illinois.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
A personal trainer, you go into a gym and a personal trainer will walk up to you and be like, we need to test your body fat percentage. And you're like, no, we don't.
It's an awful way to start your journey at the gym. Yes, we do,
because I'm going to show you how fat you are, and then you're going to feel guilty about working. And then I'm going to sell you on this package. I'll get out this pamphlet and I'll show you my packages. Yeah. It's crazy, guys. There are a lot of predatory personal trainers out there. Anyway, so what it is, it's like this. There's different forms of it, but one of them is this handheld device. I know you guys have seen these things. Like, I mean, they're super popular, super common. So you hold on to this, and then it allegedly spits out a body fat percentage. They also have these in doctors' offices, and sometimes they have nicer ones in gyms where you're going to stand on a foot plate. You got to stand barefoot, and you got to stand on these like metal plates, and then sometimes you can even hold on to something at the same time. So you're holding on to both with your hands, and then you're standing on these metal plates. And then you've also seen them. Maybe Hume is one that is advertised all the time. They have a huge marketing budget, and it's like, a bathroom scale. You stand on it and it tells you your body fat percentage, and you can see progress over time. If you can tell by my tone and cadence, I don't hold this technology in high regard. Go ahead and tell them why.
Yeah. So the whole thing is these send like an electrical signal through your body. Uh-huh. And that is they do some calculation. I don't know the math. Don't ever ask me anything about math. And it's supposed to tell you your body fat percentage. However, if you remember earlier in this episode, when we talked about how your lean mass is made up of more than just your muscle, there's a lot of factors that are highly variable that are going to impact this equation based on, what you ate, what you've drank, like a whole bunch of things. So you're not really you're not really finding out how much muscle you have at a specific time or like your actual lean mass in any way that's useful day to day. Like if you're looking at this to be a trend, there are too many variables that you cannot keep what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent on a day-to-day basis in order for it to actually give you a trend.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I'm
Thank
going
you.
to fill in some gaps.
I would love that.
Yeah, what it does is it sends an electrical signal, like you said,
Yes.
up one limb and down the other. Now, it's either through your upper body or your lower body or sometimes both. And the thought here is because muscle is more hydrated than body fat, that how much your body resists this electrical signal, that should be able to tell somebody how much body fat or muscle they have. If there's not much resistance, they must have more muscle, and if there is a lot of resistance, they must have more body fat because it's not as hydrated. Now, they take that resistance number and they plug it into this formula, like you mentioned, and this goes along with things like your age, your height, your weight, and your sex, and I believe that's it. There might be other things, but I believe those are the 4 things, and it spits out this body fat percentage. Now, like you said, the problem here is it's not technically measuring body fat. It's measuring how much water does it feel like you have today. I mean, that's it. It's how much water does it feel like is in your body. And then it's making this guess. And even still, that might not sound too bad, but let's talk about 60%, roughly 60% of the body is water. If you are 200 pounds, 120 pounds of you is water. That's insane. You guys, that's crazy. And let's say I'm slightly dehydrated or very hydrated. It's fair to say that the water in me has changed pretty significantly, right? Let's say I have a really hard workout. Let's say I'm dehydrated and I had a really hard, long workout. When I do that, I am using glycogen. Glycogen is the stored form of carbohydrates. When we eat carbohydrates, our body stores it for later. I mean, it's great. And it's primarily stored in the muscle and the liver. And then when we exercise, we get to use that glycogen. Now, I want to go on a side tangent here. I can't lose my spot, but I really want to. I won't. It's frustrating, though. I really want to. Anyway, remind me about the tangent. Write down hybrid car, fat versus carbs. Write that down right under this. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so every gram of glycogen that we hold on to holds on to about 3 grams of water. Now, we might hold on to 300, 500 grams of glycogen. 1,500 grams of water. Can I get a grams to pounds? Let's get a 1,500 in there. Right, so that's another 3 pounds of water, right? Yeah. That we could gain or lose at any given time. So what this will do, if we have a lower carb, if you know, let's just do an example to make it really clear. Let's say we take one of these tests, right? We go in, the personal trainer's like, here, come take my test. Okay, you take it. You're like 20%. You're a woman, and it says 20%. And the trainer looks at you like grimacing, like, oh man, you've got work to do. Now, because you've listened to this podcast, that 20%, you're almost as lean as you want to be. Mm-hmm. But this personal trainer doesn't know that. He's like, dude, I'm 8%. That's healthy. And anyway, so you start feeling bad about yourself, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll sign up for your package. Okay. And maybe a month goes by, and you're like, wow, I am getting stronger. I've started a calorie deficit. I started watching my intake, my food intake, and I'm losing weight. And you're down 3 or 4 pounds, and you're feeling stronger. And you're like, wow, this is awesome. I feel so good about myself. And the trainer's like, let's retest you. I'm so excited. Let's retest you. And you had a harder workout the day before and you are bringing down your calories, a combination from carbs and fats. So there's less glycogen in your body, and maybe you're a little dehydrated. We don't even have to throw that in the mix, but maybe you're a little dehydrated. What it's going to say, there's more resistance, right? Because you have less water in you right now. And so what it's going to say is that you are higher body fat percentage than you started, and you are lower muscled. How deflating must that feel?
Mhm.
Guys, this happens way more than you would think. I have had so many people message me saying, I got my body fat tested after 2 months and I stopped working with that trainer. Now, is that trainer kind of dumb for this? Like, okay, hit or miss.
At the very
like,
least, bad practice on that gym.
yeah, a lot of people just don't know.
Yeah.
And, I think you've seen it firsthand,
Mhm.
my evolution in the education that I've had to pursue on my own.
Mhm.
It's not like there's this governing body of, personal trainers, the same way like medicine has, where you need to stay up to date with knowledge. And there are some doctors who do that better or worse, that's obviously there. But personal trainers and nutritionists, it's the Wild West. You don't know what you're getting unless you've been following that person for a long time. And even then, if you are, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but if you're uneducated about fitness and nutrition, it's really hard to tell who's right and who's wrong. Like you need years of knowledge from high quality sources.
Right.
And like it's hard to know who the high quality sources are. So anyway, bioelectrical impedance analysis is absolute trash. It's I've heard the thought of, well, you can use it for trends. And like you said, if your analysis, if your reading is based on it has so many things you need to account for. A similar glycogen status, a similar hydration status, a similar air temperature, skin temperature, time of day. Are you accounting for all of these things every time? Surely not, especially when it's in your bathroom, right? Now, if you're in a lab, okay, maybe they have some protocols in place to make sure there's at least some degree of consistency. But most of us are not in a lab doing this for research. Even then, I'm going to say I don't like when I go into a study's methodologies and I see that they use BIA, I like laugh at the researchers. I'm like, idiots. Like I kind of don't trust them because there are better ways to measure both body fat and muscle, and I think BIA is the worst way you can do it. Even though it's quick and easy, I just don't think it's worth it. You cannot tell a trend from noise. What I was going to say earlier was that I was really itching to talk about was earlier I said that you can use like glycogen for muscle or glycogen for fuel for workouts. And obviously it's true. But some of you may have heard something say like, oh, this is the fat burning zone, or you got to do 12-3-30 on the treadmill, or you got to keep your heart rate really low because that's fat burning zone. Or maybe you've seen on the treadmill where you can like put your hands on the treadmill and it tells you your heart rate and it tells you what zone you're in, like fat burning zone, right? Now, what that is let's imagine we have a hybrid car, right? And let's say we have 100% energy capacity, okay? And within that energy capacity, let's say 70% of that is with fuel, with gasoline, and 30% is with batteries, okay? We have a battery pack, all right? Now, if we go, let's say we go really, really slow, and let's just say that uses gas only. Like, but then when you go really fast and then it starts using electricity. Again, let's just suspend all belief and just say like that's how it works in this hybrid car. That is the same as how our body works. Let's say we're going kind of slow. We are going to use more fat as fuel, but our body will pull. It doesn't matter. It still comes into calories in, calories out. Kind of like we need to look at the weight or the total energy of the car. If we pull 30% from the gasoline, so now there's 40% gasoline and 30% energy, we've lost 30% total energy. That's the same way we need to think about these like fat burning zones and things like that. Like, it genuinely does not matter. If you're going to spend 20 minutes on the treadmill and you're thinking like, oh, should I do it at lower intensity or higher intensity, or like moderate to higher intensity? First off, do what you enjoy, right? That's number one. But don't feel like you need to hold yourself back to get into this fat burning zone thinking that you're going to lose more body fat from doing that. You will not. That is not how it works. So don't let these people on the internet fool you. All right. Next. So that was BIA. Again, BIA, trash. Don't use it. Don't fall for those stupid scales, like the bathroom scales. They can make you feel really bad about yourself, because they give you false readings all the time. You're not going to gain 3% body fat overnight, even if that's what your scale tells you. Next, DEXA. DEXA is the one that people are like, I'm going to get a DEXA scan. I got a DEXA scan. I get them every 6 months. I get them annually. I have a bougie doctor, and they have me do DEXA scans. DEXA scans are great for bone density. For bone mineral density, this is the gold standard. They also measure fat mass and lean mass. And remember what I said at the top of the episode. I'm saying lean mass here. They measure fat mass and lean mass. Now, if I go in to a DEXA scan, and same thing with the BIA, if I come in and I am low glycogen, if I had a tough workout earlier that day or the day before, and maybe I'm dehydrated too, I'm going to have less lean mass. And if I ate a really high carb meal the day before, and I haven't worked out, in the last like 24, 48 hours, I'm going to look like a god. I'm going to look like I gained so much muscle because it's lean mass, right? Now, DEXA, like I said, really good for bone density, pretty dang good for body fat. I would not use this for muscle just because there's so much shift in the day-to-day and week-to-week, really day-to-day glycogen status and your water, your hydration status, that I don't think this is worth. I just don't think you should care about this. Again, maybe bone density if you're super curious, and maybe like, I don't even want to say if you're curious about body fat, because like, dude, just look in a mirror. Do you feel like you have too much body fat? Great. Then get into a calorie deficit and lose it. Yeah. And I know that sounds like easier said than done. Like, oh, I've been trying. Like, okay, I know. I'm really, I'm being simplistic to kind of convey a point. There's the principles of fat loss are super simple. Right. The way that you apply them is where you can be really creative and artistic with it.
Yeah. The specific number that you get from these tests doesn't change anything.
No,
like when you look in the mirror, you're going to know just as much, essentially.
Yes. I said the other day, like, I think worst case scenario is like you get the number and you just feel bad about yourself. Like you feel worse than you already did. Who's seen a number, % body fat, and being like, yes, oh yeah, I am 1/4 body fat. Oh my God, I feel so good. Because then you see all these people on social media that are like, I'm 8% body fat. No, you're not. You use BIA, you liar. I tested on one of those when I was doing group training in 2015 or 2016. I tested. My hands were a little sweaty. And I think that really messed up the thing. Because I was like relatively lean. Yeah. I was probably 12% because I've seen enough bodies at this point, and I've seen enough research. Like I know what body fat percentage looks like at this point. I tested at 1.8%. I can't even tell you how dead I would have been. Like I would have been so dead. Yeah. I would have been dead for weeks.
Similarly, didn't you get a DEXA in Illinois? Yeah. And I remember you were pretty lean then too. And I remember the test results came back
14
higher.
13.8 or 14. And I asked my audience, well, what do you guys think I was? And I mean, I was getting 9, 10, 11. Yeah. Nobody guessed over like 11 or 12%. And so people were pretty surprised. And I was just kind of like, yeah, dude, I mean, who knows?
Right.
Like, yeah, I probably had more, I had more glycogen. It did not change the way that I am
Right.
approaching anything.
And that's the other thing is like not like no one, the average person doesn't know the difference between a couple percentage points.
No.
So like
I went on the fitness subreddit the other day and there's just like this 23, 24-year-old guy who was like, what body fat percentage am I? This dude wasn't shredded. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm being real nice about it. Okay. I'm being chill about it. He didn't have a whole lot of muscle.
Mhm.
And people were like, oh, bro, you're 10%. Bro, you're 9%, 10% easy. I was like, you guys are on drugs.
Yeah.
This is, you're taking crazy. 10%, you got a six pack. 10%.
10% is very lean. Like
10% is probably like what I'm at right now.
yeah, that's
And,
very
like,
lean.
I have my face is leaning out. Like I can
Mhm.
feel my cheekbones,
Yeah.
like skin stretching over my cheekbones. When I like pull my face down, it feels tight. Like as if I never got Botox injections, but that's what I imagine, you know, when those,
Mhm.
they're like really, you know, puckered up kind of. That's like kind of how I feel in SpongeBob when he's a dry sponge.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, DEXA. I don't know. I think it's helpful for tracking fat mass over time. But again, just to summarize, I just don't think that it's that necessary because look in a mirror, you'll be able to make better decisions. Great for bone density readings. If you really want to know your visceral fat, like that can help tease it out. So fine there. Wouldn't use it for muscle. And
Yeah.
please do not get discouraged if you get one and get two, I guess, and compare them and your muscle went down because odds are if you're lifting with a structured training program, join the Change Project, then that wouldn't happen.
They're also like kind of pricey. Not like super expensive, but just like you can just save your money.
60 to a couple $100.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I mean, a couple $100 is
Oh,
not nothing.
No.
Even
Yes.
$60 for like
numbers that don't change a single thing
something
about
you
the
do
way you
not
are
need
going
to
to
do.
approach.
Like this
No.
is optional.
Yeah, it's optional. Yeah. It's like if somebody was like, how many pores do you have on your foot? It's like 500. I'm like, okay. Anyway, that doesn't change anything about the way I'm going to live. That's probably such an underestimate. I don't know. Can you Google how many pores do we have on a foot, on a human foot? Make sure you say human foot. You don't actually have to type human foot. I think context will get that. Oh, wow.
2,000 to 4,000.
2,000 to 4,000. Okay,
Somewhere
so
around
500
there.
could actually be alarming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe see a doctor.
Yeah.
Maybe have someone count.
we need to get a test going for that and sell people on find out how many pores you have. It's like
I'm
your
not-
astrological sign.
I'm not going to click this because it's sillyfeet.com.
Wait. 5 crazy foot facts you didn't know. Read them.
Well,
This is great. No. Click on it. Just clear your history after. Wow. This
Speaking
website.
of feet, back to Survivor, there are a lot of foot shots
Yeah, I
in
think
that
a producer has a thing going on, if you know what I mean.
show. Each foot contains 26 bones. Okay.
These are all
okay.
alleged, by the way. This is sillyfeet.com. I'm not sure the credibility.
Glands galore. The number of sweat glands in the feet
Uh-huh.
is equally overwhelming. The feet contain over 250,000 of these little pores.
Again, I'm not sure on that. Please don't take that for fact. I don't like these facts. These
Me neither.
aren't listed out as fun as I thought they would be.
No.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
So we talked about BIA. We talked about DEXA. Now let's talk about MRI. Now, nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to their doctor and saying, hey, doc, I'm here for my annual checkup. I've been hitting the weights.
Yeah.
I would like to schedule an MRI to see how much muscle I have gained. Can you Google the cost of an MRI in America specifically? Because, you know, we're like a third world country when it comes to healthcare.
With no insurance.
With no insurance. No insurance.
Let's see. Without insurance in the US, an MRI can cost anywhere from $400 to $10,000.
Yeah.
So
So
hopefully you get one that's $400.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, MRI is the gold standard for muscle. And it is starting to become more common in research, but it's really expensive. And especially if there's a research being done at like a university, especially if like they have a hospital system attached, they have MRIs booked around the clock. The last thing they want to do is bump the person who's getting brain surgery next week for the guy who's like, yo, bro, I just did like 12 sets of curls today. I need to see how much muscle I gained.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tougher for, I've started to see some research that does use MRI, but it's not super easy. It's not super accessible at this point. So unfortunately, that is the gold standard for muscle, but it's just not that likely. And again, why would you need to know?
Yeah.
The exact number, I think where it comes from, if I'm really, I want to play devil. I don't want to be unfair. People want data because they want to know that they are making progress.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes in fitness and nutrition, things move so slow that it's really hard to know, am I making progress toward my goals?
Especially with like muscle growth specifically,
is so
because
the scale
you can
movement,
see your body change, like your size go down.
Yes.
You can see.
Yep. Your clothes start fitting differently. You're going a belt notch lower. Your wristwatch, you notice like you have to change the notch that you're using. You notice it in, your waist and your arms and your face, eventually, not after 1 week, but
sure,
after like 6 weeks, ish. You see it on the scale, all these things, but muscle, it's like, you hit the weights 3-4 times a week. You do that for 2 months. You're going to be like, okay, I am stronger because strength is separate from muscle. But I genuinely don't know if I gained any muscle. I'll tell you what, guys. I've been lifting the last year, and I have to look at progress photos from this time last year and be like, I'm squinting. And I'm asking Maddie, like, do I look any more jacked? And she's like, yes, you look way bigger. And it's like, I don't know what you're seeing.
I see a difference.
I do.
Yeah.
But like, that's to say,
right. Like I'm not.
Now I've been lifting since 2012. Yeah. So, 13 years now of lifting. Like 6 of those years have been really intense with lifting. The, previous years I was, it's funny. The first 2 years I was like, here's what I did. 2012, I went to the gym maybe 10 times with 2 of my friends. They dragged me there. I was so scared. I was super skinny. 2013, well, technically late 2012, like September 2012, I go to college and I want to like reinvent myself. I'm tired of being like this nerdy kid, the shy kid. I had a lot of friends. Like I was friendly with everybody, but I was definitely in the nerd group. Like hang out at some dude's basement for the entire weekend, playing World of Warcraft, drinking Mountain Dew, eating chips. Like that was us every single weekend. And I was like, I'm still that nerd, right? But I kind of do want to reinvent myself. So after I graduate high school, I shaved my head and I start hitting the weights that summer with one of my buddies. I probably lift like 15, 20 times during that summer. And then I go to college, terrified to go to the gym alone because I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have any plan or anything like that. And I say, okay, I heard Manny Pacquiao, just heard this or read it on a blog or something. Manny Pacquiao does 1,000 push-ups a day. Okay, I can do 500. Because that's reasonable. So anyway, I do 500 push-ups every day, and I committed to that for an entire year. I got jacked.
That'll do it.
I got jacked, and I spread that out. I didn't know the principles of like taking sets close to failure.
Sure.
But I just sent it every time. Sometimes it was 20 push-ups. Sometimes it was only like 15 or 10 or 5 push-ups by the end of my workout. But I would go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 100. And I would have that written down, 10, 9, 8, whatever. And then I would cross it off. So sometimes I could get like the 10 and the 9. And then I could get like the 8 and the 3 and the 1, and I cross those off. And then I could get like the 2, the 6, and the 7, And so that's what I would do. And I would just take it every set close to failure. Now, I was doing a ridiculous amount of volume for my chest, and my anterior delts, my triceps, they grew pretty significantly. I I go back that summer and then the next year, and me and my buddies are lifting like fiends in my parents' basement. I got a squat rack and some plates, just rusty stuff. This was like garbage. I mean, actually garbage stuff. Like literally grabbed it out of the garbage, so to speak. That's the story for another time. But grabbed it from the garbage. So, and we're just like lifting. Good thing we didn't get tetanus. But we're lifting like 3-4 times a week. We're doing squat, bench, and deadlift, and then like some lateral raises, some bicep curls, some tricep extensions, like the basic stuff. I got so like people noticed within like 6 to 12 months, like, dude, you got jacked. What did you do? It's like, that's what you can do when you take your sets close to failure and you're very consistent for 1 year or 2 years. That transformation, that 2-year transformation was more significant than the next 10 years. Not really. Because if you look at photos of me from 2020,
I was going to say,
I would eat that guy for breakfast.
I would say since we moved into this house specifically, like 2022-ish until now, like there's been a huge transformation.
For sure. Anyway, we're really getting on the sidetrack there. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. But anyway, MRI, gold standard for muscle, but unrealistic. Okay, so BMI. Most of you probably hear BMI, roll your eyes. I'm there with you. I don't blame you. It is trash on an individual level, but for population level, pretty helpful for like statistics and things like that. But your doctor will check your height and weight and it'll be like, hey, you're obese. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. This gave me like a massive complex when I was in high school.
I think it does for a lot of people.
Yeah. It was very upsetting.
No. And I mean, I'm probably not right now. I'm probably not in the overweight category because I am like way leaner than I normally am.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like walk around. I mean, well, I could walk around at this, but like I'm fine at this. But I mean, even like 3 months ago when people would look at me and be like, yeah, you're lean, you're still lean.
Yeah.
I was overweight in that like categorized as BMI.
Right.
BMI is not, as soon as you start lifting, not literally the day you start lifting, but as you start gaining muscle, BMI starts becoming less and less and less helpful. And you should start looking at things that we're going to start talking about next, like the actual helpful measures. And luckily, you can do these all at home. Okay. Anything else you want to say about BMI? I don't think so. Not really much to talk about there. Okay. Home measurements. So first, strength. Track your strength, guys. Track your lifts. You can do this in the Change Project app. It's really, really great. And it tells you when you get PRs and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, how many elephants or golden retrievers did you lift today? But now the thing about strength is multifactorial. So you cannot say like 1-to-1, oh, if I'm getting stronger, I must be gaining muscle. There are a lot of things that play into strength. If you start doing an exercise repeatedly, like let's say the first time you do a squat, right? Or let's use an easier example. A squat's great. Let's use a squat. First time you do a squat, your body's gonna be like, what are you doing? You're trying to get this weight from point A to point B. There's gotta be a more efficient way to do that. Use leverage or momentum or something. But as you do it more, your body starts to recruit more muscle fibers. And so your strength is going to explode those first like 2-3 sessions of doing that exercise. Now, does that mean that you're gaining significant amounts of muscle during that time? No, unfortunately not. Your body's doing everything it can to just recover from that. That's where another thing comes in called the repeated bout effect. As you repeat bouts of a similar exercise, your body has a protective mechanism where there's less damage. Now, some people might hear this and be like, oh, so I should be changing up my workout so I can damage my muscles more, because the old thought, the old myth was that your bodies need to be torn down and then they rebuild back bigger. But that's not true. If that were true, marathon runners would be jacked because their muscles are being destroyed during marathons. They're so sore. They're ravaged. So anyway, that's a myth that I want you to be on the lookout for. So not only like the your body recruiting more muscle fibers, but then there's also skill acquisition that goes into strength, right? You get better at a movement. There's limb length, there's muscle insertion, where the muscle actually attaches on your bone. We all have different insertion points. So there's a lot of things that go into strength. But after that first 2-3 weeks of doing a new movement, if you're getting stronger, 1 rep here, another rep here, it's never linear. You're going to have high performing days, you're going to have low performing days. But when you zoom out over the course of weeks or months, if your strength is going up, that's a really, really, really good sign that you're probably gaining muscle. Next, skin calipers. Oh, and I do recommend staying with the same exercises for at least a few weeks at a time. If you're always changing up your exercises, it's not the end of the world. You're still going to gain muscle. Like, there's plenty of CrossFit athletes who change up their workouts every day, and group fitness class where they change up their workouts every single time you go in. You will still gain muscle, but if you want to do it as efficiently as possible, it's probably a good idea to stick with the same workouts for a few weeks at a time. In the Change Project, you get a 3 and 4 day home and gym program. We change it up every 6 weeks, but you still have access to the former programs. Anyway, a lot of plugs, but it's because I don't have sponsors for the podcast.
Yeah, we have to sponsor ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Next, so strength is my first one I'd recommend measuring over time. Next, this is actually not really a recommendation here, but skin calipers is another option.
Yeah.
We used to do this more often. Basically, there is a skill to it. You don't want to grab too much skin, but you can grab the skin and pinch a certain amount, and then you take these calipers, which are kind of like pinchy looking things, and you measure how many millimeters there is there. So that's a decent way to measure body fat percentage. But like I said, there's a degree of skill to it.
Yeah, that one is.
You didn't like doing that one.
I hated doing that one.
It was really hard to grab my legs.
It is so hard.
I don't hold any fat in my legs.
No.
None at all.
No, and you'd be like, pinch my thigh. Yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah. And it would start to hurt because you're like
miserable.
Yeah. I have no fat on my legs.
It is very arbitrary, how
much to grab.
Because you can grab more or less.
Right. Yeah.
And that is going to alter
so there's
your reading.
An absolute skill to using this. So I don't really recommend it, but it's not the worst thing in the world if you want to kind of read some guides, watch some videos, and try to get better at that one. Again, I just don't see it as a huge upside because that one is a little bit more arbitrary. Next, circumference measurements. And this is definitely one of my preferred methods. So I like taking measurements at the neck, the waist, and the hips. Now, neck, I go around, sloping down toward the bottom of the Adam's apple. The waist, I go at the thinnest part or above or right on the belly button. I usually just go right on the belly button, but if your belly button isn't your thinnest part, go with the thinnest part of your waist. And then at the hips, put your feet together and you go with the widest part around your butt. Okay. And so you plug those 3 into a Navy body fat formula, and you're going to be able to get a better trend than BIA gives. Now, I will say, it's just an estimate. It might highball you, it might lowball you, but it's not outside of I'm bloated today or something like that. It's not going to be as prone to massive swings in measurements. So I have my clients do these once a month. And I also, throw that on people's tasks to-do list optionally in the Change Project, just it's on their calendar the first of every month, because I do see that as a viable way. Circumference measurements are solid. Now, I'm neurotic, and I track them. I was doing monthly. Now I've kind of spaced it out to every few months, but I do neck, shoulders, chest, left upper arm, left forearm, right upper arm, left forearm, waist, hips, left thigh, left calf, right calf. Because I want to see you guys, this is insane. I'm going to be honest. This is psychotic. But the reason is because muscle growth is so slow that I, like many of you, are looking for signs of it. But for me, it's just I'm gaining 1 or 2 pounds a year at this point. So it's, And then one more I really like is the waist to height ratio. And this is one that is very underutilized. And
I actually don't know anything about this one.
Okay. So it's basically you just take your waist and you compare it to your height. And so let's say your waist is 30 inches and your height is 60 inches. You would have a waist to height ratio of 0.5, 1/2. Right?
Okay.
Super simple. Super, super simple. Now, there was a study, I believe this is a 2014 study, 2014 study by Ashwell, which found that waist to height ratio, or suggested that waist to height ratio is more predictive of years of life lost than body mass index. Basically, like if you are too high, you have too much excess adiposity, excess body fat, how many years of life lost, like, will you lose because of that on average? And, BMI is used so commonplace, but waist to height ratio really is a lot more accurate. And, in terms of helping to kind of decide that, because if you're jacked, like if you have a lot, like not even this case, but just like, let me just use this case. Like for me, I'm overweight BMI, but my waist is like, I have a pretty thin waist. I have a pretty narrow waist, and then like more broader shoulders. Not this podcast wasn't supposed to turn into a glaze fest about how lean and jacked. We got to tone that down. But anyway, waist to height ratio. If you're curious about doing this, just take your circumference measurement with a flexible measuring tape, throw it around your waist, just like I mentioned, right on top of your belly button, or like, I don't say on top, like above it, but like
over it,
in line with it. Yeah, over it. Yeah. And then divide that by your height. So a waist to height ratio between 0.4 and 0.5 is generally considered healthy. Between 0.5 and 0.6 suggests increased health risk and may warrant some attention. And above 0.6 indicates high risk and calls for action to reduce abdominal body fat, but body fat in general. But you can't spot reduce, so I should just say body fat in general. Yeah. So I've been using that with clients now, and it's actually been really motivating for them. When they see, like, I'm thinking of 2 clients in particular. They're down like 20 pounds now, and they're so happy. And one was actually asking me like, "Hey, I see my waist to height ratio really coming down. Like, what should I be aiming for?" And I told her, "Hey, if we could get to below 0.5, we'd be in a really good spot." And she wants to have more kids, and that's like her goal. Is she wants to, once she gets to that point,
it's going right back up.
It will be shooting up at that point.
That's a joke. Please don't be sad about
that. and to clarify, she's saying that because she's looking to get pregnant then. Yes.
Yeah, like your belly.
Not that she rebounded.
Right.
Or, that. Anyway, that was a very funny joke. I just wanted to clue the audience in. Okay, so, waist to height ratio, circumference measurements, and strength are 3 that I'd recommend. And then the gold standard in ways to measure your body composition over time. There is not one thing that you can do better than this, in my opinion. It is also the most uncomfortable, the most awkward, and the one that people grit their teeth on the most.
Yeah.
People don't like me saying this. People don't want to do this, but I can't recommend it enough. And it is the dreaded progress picture.
Yeah.
Guys, you don't got to share them with anybody. Just throw them on your phone in a folder. You don't got to look at it much. You can close your eyes when you take the dang photo. But taking a photo of yourself in, maybe it's your underwear, but maybe it's your shorts and a sports bra, or, for guys, it's shirtless. If you're not comfortable shirtless, a tank top, something a little tight, a little revealing, so that you can see the changes. If you're like, okay, I took a progress photo and you're wearing baggy sweats and a hoodie, it's like, dog, you're not going to see anything. You're drowning in it no matter what. Like, I'm wearing a hoodie right now. You cannot tell anything about my physique. This is not how I would take a progress photo. What I would do when you do them, try to have similar lighting every time. And the setup ideally is you get some kind of bright light coming in from a window. Now, I don't expect you to, strip down and then stand in front of a window. You're in like New York City and all of a sudden you got passerbys, eating the New York slice and looking in and being like, oh, wow. No, I do not expect you, or like your neighbor Frank is like mowing his lawn and you're, whatever. But what you really want ideally, so it doesn't need to be a window, but what you want is a setup where it is light, camera, you, in that order. And that's actually a pro tip for all photos.
Yeah.
You want a nice family photo, have everybody, face toward the window instead of the window being behind you. The window's behind you, you're going to get backlit. The photo's going to look really bad. The photo, if you're facing the window, you're going to be front lit and the photo's going to look really, really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So just a friendly photography tip for you. It really makes a big difference. Face the light. Anyway, that's what I would do. I would look at strength maybe on a monthly basis. I would take circumference measurements once a month. I would look at your waist to height ratio at the same time, just throw it into a spreadsheet or use the spreadsheet that's attached with the Change project, because waist to height ratio, circumference measurements, it's all there. Strength is all there. Charts are all there. And then Mirror Pics, I would do these monthly, especially if you're looking to maintain your weight, maybe once every 2 months or every 3 months. But if you're looking to lose weight, I probably would do these once a month, once every 2 months at the least. But yeah, those are my recommendations. This has been a really wonderful episode. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. All right, everybody. We're playing TFT. The new set just came out,
yeah.
Teamfight Tactics.
We are playing TFT.
If you guys like, I don't know, like it's called like an auto chess.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to play that right now.
I was going to say, we're probably going to go play.
We're going to eat a bowl of cereal and play that right now, because that's what we do every single night.
Every single night.
Every single night. We have a bowl
if you
of cereal.
ever wonder, like, I wonder, they must have so much, they must be doing it. No, we are
very habitual.
Very habitual.
Very routine.
But we enjoy it.
Yep. And we hit diamond last set, which is the top like 3% of the player base. That's not, it
might be 5%.
5%. Yeah.
But it's up there.
We're kind of top dogs at that game.
We're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hit master in that game in one of the sets.
Yeah.
Which is like top 1%.
Yeah. Very long time ago.
Year or two ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 or 5.
No.
It's been out a long time.
Yeah,
it's
it
been
was
out
back
since
when
like
we lived
2018. I'm not going to say the name of the
apartment, like
2
moves ago.
2 moves ago. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Probably like 5 years.
6 years maybe. Yeah, it's been a long time.
We're getting old.
Yeah, we are. All right, that was a fun little exit. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Last thing, when we got the stats for the Spotify Wrapped, and I should have started the podcast with this.
Yeah. But we can end it this way.
Maybe I'll should I record it and add it to the beginning, just like a thank you?
Yeah, maybe add that. But we can say it again right now and just say.
All right. I'm going to add it to the beginning as well, but I just wanted to say thank you. I might even get teary-eyed about this. Oh my God, I feel myself getting emotional. I think it's crazy that somebody will listen to us for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's wild. And it's so appreciated. And I think it's so cool that you guys care enough about us and you trust me and Maddie, sure, I guess.
I mean, okay, yeah. Let's cool it there.
Sure. But you like her input and
yes, I'll take that.
You like us enough to listen to us and to invite us into your car, your home, your ears, wherever you're listening to us, however you're listening to us. We really appreciate it. When we saw the Spotify Wrapped stats that we get as creators, it was shocking. We're in the top, I think it was 10% or 5% or something like that of video podcasts on Spotify. We're beating out 95% of podcasts. Are you kidding me? We're top 5% most shared podcasts. It was just insane. And to see even that we have people who we are their number one podcast. Mm-hmm. I can't even, dude, my mom doesn't even listen to my podcast. She's never listened to an episode.
She might not even know you have one.
I think she knows I have one, but
probably
I've talked about it. which is even worse because I talked about it. She doesn't listen. But
just teasing.
yeah. So I just want to say thank you. It's like a really, really heartfelt thank you. I really do so appreciate you sticking with us, especially as upload cadence hasn't been as regular as we'd like it to be, but we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get Milo to nap more so we can do this more. But
otherwise, you'll see us at 8 p.m.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. Take care.